You have power. The power to save lives. The power to defeat illnesses. The power to use games for good. You can be a hero for local sick and injured kids through Extra Life, a 24-hour gaming marathon that supports a local Children's Miracle Network hospital in your community. Join 50,000 gamers from all across the world as we battle the enemy, illnesses, and injuries facing local kids.
Play games, heal kids.
Find out more at extra-life.org.
Hey, Justin.
Oh, hey, Darrin.
So when by the way, everyone, welcome to the Week 3 podcast. Where
Hi.
Yeah, it's the third week of the month, and Justin and I have a very unscripted, off the hip, whatever the heck we want to talk about discussion.
Yep.
I will confess, this month is my turn, and I couldn't think of anything, so I crowdsourced it, and I went to our Discord. And this was a topic suggested by Gungraves, so we're talking light gun games.
All right. I must have missed that post because I don't remember that at all in the Discord.
That's fine.
But I do remember light gun games, so...
Yeah, so when I mention light gun games, you probably think of the 80s, if I had to guess.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Would you believe they were invented in 1936?
What? This is genuine shock and confusion. My acting's not that good. The hell you say?
Yeah, the Seabird Rayolite game. It looked like a little rifle, and you would send a beam of light at physical targets that were wired with sensors. And so if your light crossed the sensor, the target would either fall over or you'd get points, depending on like what model you had.
That just baffles my mind.
Yeah. So yeah, look it up sometime. The Rayolite, letter O, light, and it was a trip to learn that 1936 is how long we've been doing light gun games. Yeah. Now obviously it's evolved over time.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, really the next big change came with the Magnavox Odyssey in the 70s. My grandpa had one of these, where it looked like a freaking revolver that was just attached to his video game box. And
why am I not surprised your grandfather had one of those?
Well, he also had one that looked like a little tiny repeater rifle. But here's the fun fact about those. Magnavox Odyssey in the 70s. These light guns were made by Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
Because Nintendo was branching out into arcades and all that stuff after being a Hanafuda playing card company for like 100 years.
Yeah.
As well as operating some love hotels in Japan that they don't want you to talk about. But they did exist.
Oh, we talk about them.
Yeah. So, but when Nintendo started to make these, they changed the design. Because, like I said, the earliest one was just, it would shoot a beam of light, and then it would trigger a sensor on the target.
Yeah.
These reversed that, where the sensor was in the gun itself. You pull the trigger, it causes your screen to flash or blink, and the sensor is looking for a specific box of light on the screen to determine whether you hit the target or not. That's why it was so easy to cheat at Duck Hunt for those of us who grew up in the 80s, because you could put a piece of paper on the screen and the zapper would just be like, oh, there's the box right there.
There's the target. Fun fact, for our youngins in the audience, if you plugged... So the gun went into controller port 1 on the Nintendo.
Yes.
If you plugged a controller into number 2, you could control the duck.
Oh, yeah, and I had a lot of fun with that.
I pissed my cousins off so much by doing that, because we'd be laying down, and I would have the controller half under me, working the D-pad with my thumb, and them not realizing it.
So, Sega and Atari also had their own, but really it didn't take off until Nintendo, with the Famicom in Japan, and the NES in North America, with obviously Duck Hunt.
Yes.
Another big one was Hogan's Alley. There was also some of the shooting. Some of the game Bayou Billy, which was notoriously difficult, had some shooting levels in it where if you had a zapper, you could use that in lieu of using a controller. And then really, light gun games were like that for a long time, where it was just static screen, targets pop up, you shoot the target. And then a little game called Operation Wolf came to arcades. And it's noteworthy because it was the first rail shooter where the camera would move and the level would move around you instead of you just being in one place. Mm-hmm. Now, after that, things kind of leveled off a bit. And then another reason that I wanted to talk about light gun games is what got me thinking about it. My niece came up and visited for my birthday a couple weekends ago. And we were at an arcade, and there's a Walking Dead one. But it's a light gun game. It's a light gun game where you sit in this cabinet and you've got these crossbows in front of you, and the technology works a lot like what we've transitioned to with current day, because the games of the 80s and 90s, Lethal Enforcers, Duck Hunt, whatever, will not work on modern TVs.
No.
Because of the refresh rate of screens. The older TVs had a slower refresh rate, and so that's what caused the sensor to work. With LCD and HD TV and all that stuff, it's basically impossible for light guns from that generation to work nowadays. They're completely obsolete, useless unless you've got an old CRT television somewhere. But that doesn't mean it stopped, because a few people have tried to bring the idea back. I mean, the Wii with the sensor bar, you could play Duck Hunt using that. Yeah. There was Link's crossbow training. Elebits counts as I would say a light gun game.
Okay, yeah.
And then there's been further technology for modern consoles and PCs where the gun actually measures your screen size. Like, it measures the size of the display, and it calculates where it's pointing from the corners to figure out, did you hit the target?
Huh, okay.
That's kind of what the current arcade cabinets use.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's nice that people have been able to keep it going. It has been a niche thing since the mid-2000s, but there's clearly a demand. I mean, there's I think a third of the games in arcades nowadays, if it's not a racing game or a rhythm game, it is a shooting game using this kind of technology as well. There's a few fighting games, but...
there's one in the bowling alley here where I live that my kid loves, and it's a Jurassic Park game where you get this big screen in front of you and you shoot down the bad dinos coming at you.
Well, and shout out to Hero Complex in St. Peters, Missouri for the Godzilla VR one.
Oh, yeah. That one, that's a good one.
Yeah, you did a VR headset, but you've still got the light gun, and it works practically the same way. It's just tracking in a different... It's using kind of like the Wii pointing motion sensor, infrared tracking. But more or less the same thing. So,
by the way, Darrin and I have both been to Hero Complex. If you're ever in the greater St. Louis area, pop down to St. Peters, Missouri. It's just like 20 minutes outside of Metro St. Louis. It's a fun time.
It is well worth your time.
Oh, absolutely.
They are not advertising, but if they hear this, email me.
Yeah.
All right. But so that's kind of like the history lesson for those of you who aren't familiar with them. So I figured, Justin, you and I, for the next 7 or 8 minutes, could just talk about some of our favorite light gun games. I mean, we both have some experience with this genre.
Yeah, we do.
So you mentioned Duck Hunt, obviously.
Well, you mentioned it, but yeah. Duck Hunt, that was the only light game I had for the longest time. And then, I don't remember how this came into my possession, but there was something called Action Max games.
Okay.
Basically, you had a light gun and a VHS tape.
Oh, like Captain Power.
Yeah. And you pop the VHS in, and I don't remember what the light gun plugged into. Maybe the VCR player. I don't remember. But I had a flying one that I didn't really care for. And the one I loved was The Rescue of Pops Ghostly. And it starts off with this kind of cheerful sunny day, you're going through a neighborhood, and all of a sudden there's this ghost that pops up, and it looks like a Muppet ghost, like Muppet technology kind of ghost, where it's a puppet but it's translucent, and the kid ghost is like, you got to help my dad, there's poltergeists in the house, and you go through the front door, and all of a sudden it's this spooky kind of thing, and you go around shooting the bad ghosts.
There was a toy series called Captain Power, which was like sci-fi stuff. It had space fighter jets with a light gun built in.
Okay.
And like the good guys and the bad guys both had sensors and, light display things, so you could shoot another ship and cause its cockpit to like pop open and the other pilot to fly out. The reason I bring this up is that's just toy application, but they also had VHS tapes where when they had like a flying sequence and they were in aerial combat, you could shoot the TV and try to take down the other planes. And I don't know how it worked. I know it wasn't around for very long because I think some televisions got damaged. I know mine did. My grandpa was not happy because we had just gotten the VCR and I popped this Captain Power thing in, and within minutes we've got to fix the TV now. So I don't know how that works. That's how it worked out. Maybe it was just a fluke of timing, but there were those. Really, some of my favorite gaming memories revolve around these titles. And there's not a lot of depth. It's mainly reflexes and a little bit of cheating if you've got like a turbo controller and you don't have a zapper gun. Hello, Virtua Cop. Where you can I did that for the Sega Saturn. I had this controller. It was a third-party one where you could just turn on auto fire for one of the buttons.
Nice.
And so, I would just mouse the cursor all over the screen while mashing reload because fire was set to auto.
Nice. Nice.
But I think the Saturn, PlayStation, that was kind of where we saw the zenith of the light gun games. Because you had Lethal Enforcers, you had Time Crisis, games with like full motion video baked into this technology. Virtua Cop I loved because it made me feel like RoboCop, because it was you'd have like this target that would zoom in on the bad guys. It would change colors the closer they were to firing, and you could try to like shoot the gun out of their hand or shoot them in the knee and they'd fall over, or shoot them in the head and it'd be an instant move on.
Nice.
And Sega then adapted that to the Dreamcast with House of the Dead, which is, if you like schlocky horror,
I do,
you would love House of the Dead. In fact, they did a remake on the PC and the Nintendo Switch where you can use the Joy-Con to aim.
Okay.
And it's so... The dialogue is so bad because it is just, think like the worst impulses of a Japanese director with a horror film involving zombies. The first boss, there's this little guy with wings flying around this big giant, and he just like starts throwing shit at you, and then when it's time to fire back, he yells, "Get him, Carl!" And Carl is the name of the giant. In fact, House of the Dead was so popular, there was a Dreamcast spin-off called Typing of the Dead that used the keyboard, in that you had to type a word above a zombie's head fast enough in order to shoot it. But I'm getting a little bit off course. It's just, that franchise is so much fun.
Oh, that probably would have helped me in typing class.
It did not help me.
In junior high, that would have been fun for me.
It was too fast for me. But yeah, man... There were so many that it's kind of hard to keep track of. There was one that Aerosmith did.
Really?
And I can't remember the name of it. I'm trying to look it up because it was like... bear with us, folks. I want to know. Aerosmith, light gun game... Revolution X.
Okay.
It was by Midway, and it was... You had like this Uzi was mounted to the arcade cabinet. And it was you're just blowing away like all these, kind of like NARC, you're blowing away all these drug dealers and that kind of thing, because it was back in like the big war on drugs thing, and they were capitalizing on that. So like 94.
I guess by then Steven Tyler could have been clean, because in the 70s and 80s he had according to credible sources, this is not me just speculating, according to credible sources, he had a penchant for the no-no stuff.
Well, if anyone would know how to fight drugs, it's someone who's taken a lot of drugs.
Right.
He knows their weaknesses. He's been,
Guns.
He's been up in there.
Oh.
So, any other light gun games that kind of speak to you? Because I know I just kind of rambled.
I mean, honestly, no, because like I said, I didn't really have a lot of games that involved the light gun except for those two that I already mentioned. And when I got the Super Nintendo, that's when I started building my game library. And I know they had like a bazooka kind of thing.
The Super Scope, yeah.
The Super Scope, but I never had that.
Yeah.
I leaned into the Mario Paint where I had the mouse.
It was funny that sidebar again, the whole Nintendo and Sega fight, which led to the video game ratings board. That there was like a lawsuit involved, and Congress called both Nintendo and Sega to like testify about these games are violent. We got to like do something about it. And Nintendo points out like, well, Sega's got Blood and Mortal Kombat. They've got these racy games like Night Trap. And the Sega lawyer, in like the only good argument he had, which was not many, but he had one good argument, because this whole thing was supposed to be about what are we doing to prevent kids from emulating the violence, and it basically became a Nintendo and Sega slap fight, where they're just taking fucking cheap shots at each other, and it's worth tracking down just to watch that. But the Sega guy points out our competitors who claim to be family friendly are selling your kids a bazooka because of the Super Scope. To which then Nintendo pointed out, yeah, so you can like, shoot apples while riding the back of Yoshi. So it's just terrible argument all around.
Yeah. And can you go to the local superstore and buy a bazooka? No.
Well, you could buy a Super Scope, so it was close enough.
Well,
I wanted one. I never had one. And it turns out, in retrospect, it was probably a wise choice, because they were like 3 Super Scope games for the Super Nintendo.
I mean, they looked cool.
They did look cool. But then again, there were like 3 or 4 Zapper games for the NES, but just the Zapper is so much more fondly recommended.
I think even if I found a broken, like internally broken Super Scope for $5, I'd buy it and hang it on the wall. But
yeah,
5's
it's
my
a nice
threshold.
Piece of history. 5's the threshold. Yeah.
5's the threshold for that thing.
Now, if you are looking,
I've still got a couple of zappers, like the orange one.
I was about to say gray or orange.
I had the orange one growing up. My spouse had the gray one. I think, honestly, we have both.
Yeah, because the first run of NES's was the gray one, and then people started freaking out that it looks too much like a gun. And it does not. But so then they made it orange, so it made it even more badass looking, really.
Oh, yeah.
It made it look like a futuristic laser gun, pew pew. So
yeah.
Now I had the orange growing up, and then we got the gray one at like a yard sale, I think.
Yeah.
And I tried to play Duck Hunt with 2 zappers, and it didn't work out.
Oh, I'm going to get them ducks.
Freaking ducks and that freaking dog.
Yeah. The second zapper shoots the dog.
That's how it works, yeah.
That is the only dog animal that I condone violence against is the Duck Hunt dog.
So if you're listening to us in 2026 or later, there are a couple of options for you to play light gun games not at the arcade. Arcade 1-Up sells a couple of cabinets. One is Terminator 2, which uses the light gun.
Oh, nice.
You can also get it from Wayfair. And Arcade 1-Up also has Time Crisis in light gun form. That one has been discontinued, which means that what you would normally pay $599 for will run you about $1,000.
Yeah.
As of, again, August 2026. However, if you have a decent gaming PC, we're talking like moderate and up, you can also pick up what's called the Gun for IR, which is a setup that attaches a receiver nearby your monitor, and you can play light gun games on PC.
Okay.
Which is probably the cheaper option than getting yourself an arcade cabinet.
Probably.
There is also the Send-In light gun, which uses a camera-based system, and that's kind of like the entry level. But there you go. You have some options if you want to do light guns in the year of our Lord 2026 and beyond.
All right. Well, I kind of hope that retro stuff like affordable, lightweight CRT TVs come back around.
They are, actually. I saw an ad for it. So there was, in fact, someone who is developing a tiny TV that is CRT for your retro games.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'll have to do some digging, see if Liz has that on the website, which, by the way, if you want to find news and other stuff that we don't talk about on our weekly podcasts, go to geekcavepodcast.com.
Yep.
By the way, we got another Watch What coming up next week. And then first full week of September, we got more episodes of the Geek Cave podcast. And we're looking forward to, I guess we're looking forward to finding out what you want to talk about next month.
I'll come up with something.
Bye.
Bye.